Welcome to our 12th episode of Black Dance Stories. Here's a note about why we are here. Our dance world was pummeled by COVID-19, and Black dance artists are finding ways to talk about life during this time. Our world was further turned upside down after horrible events ensued nationally and globally, bringing attention yet again to the need for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black dance artists have not been quiet since. Black dance artists have been doing the work. Black dance artists continue to make work. To stay involved, we hold these weekly impromptu discussions and tell stories. Black dance stories. This is one action, and we promise to stay involved. We are a community working together to support, uphold, highlight, and celebrate Black creatives. Tonight is our 12th episode of what we hope will be many stories told in the artist's own voices. Another big welcome to our new BDS friends and to our Thursday regulars. We thank you so much for witnessing. Please share the love with those inside as well as outside your worlds. Tonight it's Camille A. Brown and Jason Samuels Smith's turn. Please meet our BDS team. I'll go first. I am Charmaine Warren. I am a Jamaican. I am the great granddaughter of Ida Boyd, granddaughter of Solomon Golson and Ruby Chapman, and daughter of Theophilus Warren and my 94-year-old mother, Pearline Warren, who lives in Jamaica. I am a non-disabled Black woman. I live on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape people, now known as Montclair, New Jersey, with my husband, photographer and graphic artist, Tony Turner. Our daughter, Ashe Turner, a Black ballerina with locks, is going into her junior year at Boston Conservatory. I have locks that fall to my shoulders. I'm wearing a floral and white print blouse and orange earrings with noisy silver danglies. Behind me are photos of our family, a large plant, a lamp, and African masks. Dance is my happy, happy place. And each week I am so honored to share this special place with you, and equally so with members of our dance community who find solace here. I turn it over to Kimani now.
Thank you, Charmaine. And yes, in terms of solace, this is a big one for me. And I'm so happy to be in community with all of you. The importance of acknowledging our familial and dance legacies is an important tradition. And in this tradition, I want to honor and acknowledge the Lenape, whose stolen land I am zooming from, currently known as the village of Harlem. I am a Black, non-disabled woman, and I live with my 9-year-old son. I am sitting in my dining room. I have a golden low-cut hairstyle and a fuchsia tank top. I am the granddaughter of Lucille Madison, 104, she lived till. I teach because of her. Daughter of Ronald Augustus Fowlin, Jamaican warrior, and Anne Fowlin, Renaissance woman. I dance because of them. My son, Tamayo, keeps me present with the fascination of a blossoming young visual artist. And with that, I will turn it over to Nick.
Thank you, Kimani. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Hall. I'm Haitian American. I'm a Black, non-disabled man. I was born in Brooklyn to Sheila and Curtins Hall. My family, including my sisters Isabella and Victoria, now live in Montclair, which is on stolen Lenape land. I'm also a recent graduate of the Ailey Fordham BFA program. I'm in a white room wearing a Black t-shirt and a chain necklace. And with that, I'm gonna pass things back to Kimani.
So please, several things that I wanna kind of say here. We need everybody to do their part and vote. We need you to fill out the census. We need to be counted. So please, 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 I can't beg you enough. We need change. And we also want to thank you for your generous donations and would greatly, greatly, greatly love you to consider donating to us, to Camille, to Jason. We are artists in this time. Think of going to a show and what you would pay for that. So we highly appreciate you doing that. And I would like to turn it back to Nick.
Thank you, Kimani. I want to ask everyone watching tonight if they could please drop their name in the chat. A big part of Black Dance Stories is the community, so we want to know who is watching our Zoom call right now. We also want to ask you to please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Please follow our Instagram at Black Dance Stories, follow our Facebook page, Black Dance Stories, and subscribe to our Twitter at BLK Dance Stories. And with that, I think it's time to cheers Black Dance Stories. But first, if you haven't already, grab a cocktail, a glass of water, a glass of wine, whatever makes you happy.
Can I say something before we cheer, which is really important to us, is really important. So before I have two important things. One is it takes a village, and our village exists a family behind the scenes as well. And I just want to name our family behind the scenes. Cynthia Tate, who is our publicist. Gabe Decoladanu, web designer. Tony Turner, graphic designer. And our ASL interpreters, Sharuk, Kenya, and Kara. So the last thing I'd like to say is our BDS team stands in solidarity with all those who want an immediate end to racial violence. Can we toast to that, Nick?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Here's to that and BDS.
Cheers to that. It's my turn.
Yes, it is.
It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. We're so fabulous. Can I just say we're so fabulous? We're so fabulous. We're so fabulous. Kiss, 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 love, 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 hug, hug, hug. All right. I'll see you two in just a little bit. Bye. Guess who it's time? It's time to bring Camille Brown in. Camille Brown, come on in and join me. Oh, wait.
I know what you were doing. I had to transition. I had to get my body ready for this.
I know, right? Get it going.
Yes, I wasn't ready.
Dancing body. The warm up. Cheers, Camille. Cheers. Oh, wait, you said it's green tea, right?
It's green tea.
Green tea. Cheers to that.
Thank you.
You can't imagine how happy I am that you're doing this. But you know, right?
I'm honored to be here and thankful. So thank you for having me on this show with Jason. This is like amazing.
Right? Jason. Okay, introduce yourself. Here's a long list. Tell us where you are. Tell us about, you gotta talk about your mama a little bit. Tell us where your room is. Tell us.
Okay, so my name is Camille A. Brown. I am the daughter of Lorraine Brown, who is the daughter of Mary Williams, who is the daughter of Aggie Taylor, who is the daughter of Agnes Connor. I am on the land of the Lenape, and it is now known as Jamaica, Queens. I was born and raised here. I still live in the neighborhood that I grew up in. I'm literally 5 minutes away from my mom. I'm currently in my living room. This quilt behind me was made by my aunt. She makes me quilts every year, so this is one of them, and I'm very honored to be here.
Oh my gosh! Every year, do you change it?
Well, I have a couple around, so.
Yeah. I hope Auntie is watching. Did you say her name? Say her name.
Aunt Carol Wilkinson.
Oh, Camille, that's so sweet. Boy, we hold these people close to us, especially now, right?
Yes, we do. Well, we need to. We need community, family, friends, everything.
So you and I talked about this, and only because I know about this, I'm going to ask you, but your mama, why did I say, please talk about your mama? Tell everybody about your mama and Camille A. Brown dancers.
Well, my mommy is watching now, and she is one of the most bravest and realist and courageous people that I know. She is one of the main reasons why I keep going. I always have doubts about who I am, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and she always helps me believe in myself. And she always told me, "Don't let anyone ever take your stuff away." That was from Enda Jacquet's For Color Girls, and I just love her and appreciate her. We were actually hanging out today, this afternoon. So, and she's a retired social worker, and she got me into musicals and got me into dance. She loved to move. My grandparents put my two aunts in dance school, and my mom was the youngest. So by the time it got to her, they couldn't afford to put her in dance school. So my mom put me in everything, like gymnastics, swimming. Swimming, I was afraid to get in the water. Gymnastics, I was afraid of the balance beam. But dance was something that I really clung to, and it was a safe space for me because I had a small. Will still have a small voice, but I had a small voice when I was younger, and I always got teased. So it made me very insecure about speaking in public. So dance was a way for me to really to express myself. So my mom saw that love, and she introduced me to musical theater and musicals, and it's the reason why I do it now, is because of her love and my love for it. And so we used to, well, before the internet, I was not born in the internet age. Before then, we would go to the library and we would take out music, we would take out videos, and we would just watch our favorite scenes of things. And we still do that.
VHS? VHS?
VHS from the got them from the library and VHS. So and we still do that now with links and DVD, now. So she's special, and she is my heart, and I love her very much.
What did y'all do today?
We went to Red Lobster.
And you ate outside?
No, they can. We are about 20 minutes away from Long Island, so they actually have indoor seating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you remember the first time that you and your mama went to a show together?
I don't, but she does. It was
Of
Hansel
course.
and Gretel at the Met. She remembers. She tells me that. I remember Serafina. I remember Damn Yankees. I remember bringing the noise, bringing the funk. Those are the ones I remember when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom told me that we went to see Hansel and Gretel at the Met when I was 4.
4.
4, yeah.
That's why you don't remember.
That's why I didn't know what was going on.
Now, do you remember the first time you took her to a Broadway show?
Oh, I took her. Well, I remember when I surprised her. She loves Audra McDonald, and I wanted to bring her to see Lady Sings. I hope it's called Lady Sings the Blues. And I didn't tell her we were going to the show. I just asked her to meet me for dinner. And so she met me in the city for dinner. And then I was like, okay, let's just go walking. So we walked past the theater, and I was like, oh, wow, Audra McDonald is playing. She was like, yeah, I'd really love to see her. And I was like, you know what? Let's go now. And she was like, what? And she started crying. It was so beautiful. It was so that was great. So I remember that. That's probably not the first time that I took her to a show, but that's the first time that I surprised her and got to see her just really happy about being there.
So I know what she does when you have events like the gathering. Oh, first explain what the gathering is before I even ask you about that, but explain what the gathering is.
Yes, the gathering, I started that, wow, maybe 5 years ago. I love connecting with other Black women, and I love sisterhood. And for a time, I just felt like, wow, we were all in our separate spaces, and wouldn't it be really amazing for us all to gather together? So our first one was at City Center, and I think about 80 Black women showed up. That which was so powerful. I remember everyone was standing in a circle and everyone was introducing themselves, and it was just so powerful, the people that were there. And I wanted to continue that and to provide like resources for Black female choreographers. So I just continued doing it every year. So my mom, she she works. She does behind the scenes. She does everything. Like does the gets the food, registers people. I mean, I definitely have a team that grew over time, but my mom has always been like that solid foundation that holds everything down.
So, you said mom over time and your team, and you just reminded me of now. I might not get all the names,
Yes,
but I just thought of, and this is gonna be you go, I go, you go. Francine Ott.
Francine Ott, Francine E. Ott.
Francine Ott. Come on.
Yes. Oh, my go.
Yo, go. No,
And
you go talk about Francine, and I'm gonna try to remember the early company members, but I'm bad with this. I'm gonna try,
okay,
but talk about Francine, and then I'm gonna think of another name.
Francine is like the one of the dopest people that I know. I met her when I was a dancer for Evidence, and she was apprenticing for the company, and I just thought this woman was such a fantastic mover, and she was so confident and brave and bold and just bad, and she was just wonderful. So I asked her to dance with me, and she had danced with me for wow, I don't know, 10 years maybe. And I want to lift up Indira Goodwine, who is now the director of programming at NIFA. Uh,
Okay, not fair because that was the next name I was gonna
oh yeah,
say.
I'm gonna always do one of the reasons why I'm see, and now my Queens accent is coming out. One of the reasons why I always do Indira is because she's from Queens, New York, and she has held me down from the very, very beginning. When when people said that you know, I wasn't gonna make it, or I don't anything. She always held me down. When I wanted to start my career in musical theater and people said, "Oh, that's probably not going to work. You're a Black female, or it's going to be challenging for you to balance that and have a career running your company. It's probably not going to work." She was like, "Whatever you do, I'm behind you." So I am always going to lift up Indira. And I'm so proud of her and the fact that she has just blossomed. And I feel like we grew up together inside of this business. She started as a dancer for my company. And she said one day that she was going to graduate school for business, and she wanted to come back and help me when she graduated. And I was like, "Yeah, right. She gonna find a job and go somewhere else." But she actually came back and she helped me. She was my company manager. Then she transitioned into being my first managing director. And then now she has this job at NIFA. And to watch her grow, um, I am honored to know her. It's too early for me to start getting emotional. Um, you know,
No.
I am I feel so blessed to have had her be a part of my life and my company, and I'm just really thankful. And the fact that she is from Jamaica, Queens, is something that is very special to me. It's funny. I don't always talk with my Queens accent because sometimes I feel like it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but whenever we talk, it's always in our accent, and that's our sisterhood. And so I love that. And can I get a picture that I did? Okay, so this is a gift. Well, because I'm gonna leave, so I didn't know if that was gonna be tagged.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna run and get the gift that I got for her.
Okay. We're gonna be right here waiting for you.
Okay, so there is a guy that Justin Squiggs, I hope I said his name right, but he does a lot of work and illustration for musical theater. So I asked him to do an illustration of Indira and I, and this was my gift to her as a going away. So you see Hollis, it says Queens, and that's me, and that's her. And then there are little things from Queens like 205, the Q85, that's the EJZ, those are the trains in Queens. Our names are in there. And so I just wanted to give her a little piece of home because I know she's in Boston right now.
Well, before she went to you and before she went to Boston, at E Moves when I was there, I was done with you, Camille.
What happened? What I do?
Because you took Indira.
Oh, so yeah, but you know what? The fierce thing about
What?
her that she was working two jobs, and no one ever knew. Everyone knew that she was working at Harlem Stage, but no one ever knew that she was working for me too because she was so amazing doing both jobs. That's how fierce she was. Everybody thought she worked for me part time, full time. Eventually, she did, but in the
Mhm.
very beginning, she was part time. But you would never know it.
You're right. You're right. Okay, another name. Jewel.
Oh, Jewel. So Jewel is my brother, my swag. I mean, I'm an only child.
Jewel Lane. Let's say the last name.
Jewel D Lane. You know, everybody got their middle initial, so we always
That's
do that.
get it right.
Jewel D Lane. So we went to college together. And Jewel was one of the first people that I dragged into studios and said, you know, can I just put some movement on you? Can we play around? And he was like, sure. So, you know, he has really through his body seen the evolution of my work, and because of him, because he has been there throughout since college, and that's over a 20-year relationship. I've been able to see the evolution of my movement through his body. And he's a special person. We danced in Evidence together. He still dances with me in my company. I said, and I always tease him. I'm like, Julian, you still here? I always think he's gonna, and he always teases me. He goes, "No, this is my last day." It's always every performance is his last performance, but that is one of my best friends in the world, and he is one of those people that helps me and sustains me and always lifts me up. Um, I think sometimes my persona is one of, oh, you know, she's fearless, and I feel like I'm the most fearful person I know, and seriously doubt myself. I'm my worst critic. And I beat myself up a lot. And he is one of those people that helps me to be encouraged and stay there, um, and to not be so hard on myself.
Did you ever get into a space where you beat yourself up, and then it's post and you go, see, Camille,
Is what?
did you ever get into a space where you beat yourself up, usually for days, right? Or in this world, for a long time.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, you go, see, Camille,
See, Camille, what? See,
that wasn't all that. You didn't have to go there.
yeah, but my mom says that's my process. She's I always call her like mom. Every time I do a new project, there's like a air of terror that surrounds me. I am so frightened. I'm like, what if I get in there and I don't know what I'm doing? What if, you know, I get in there and I totally blank out, or I forget how to choreograph, or I forget like how you do a two-step? You know, what if all of these things happen? So every time I do this with my mom, she's like, that's your process. And then I do it with my friends and they're like, this is your process. So people just deal with me, I
You
guess.
need a sign.
Yeah,
That's
this is my process.
so
I
that you can go,
what do you say?
so that you can get past it.
Everybody, this is my process. Well, that's what I do. I do give disclaimers when I work with everybody. When I work with people, I don't like questions. And it's not that I don't like questions. It's that my brain is like focused on, you know, if you have an idea and you're focused on it, and sometimes like if I could just get my thought out, then I can take the questions. And then the other thing is a lot of the questions I don't know yet. I think the phrase I don't know is one of the most liberating and empowering phrases that you can ever have, because it releases the pressure. So, a lot of times I believe that if we just hold on and trust the process, a lot of those questions that we have in the beginning will eventually be answered for all of us, including myself. So,
Process with the company. Wait, did we leave anybody out that we should have named
oh my God. Uh,
in the beginning? Because we know you have Beatrice now, and Fana did Ink. And oh my gosh, why am I forgetting everybody from Ink?
I would say Chantel Bell.
Chantel Bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say Chantel. She hit me up and said she wanted to help me with my company. I didn't even want a company in the beginning. I was so against having a company. I was like, I don't want one. I don't want. It's too much. And then I think part of it is that I didn't believe that I had the ability to make people feel anything. Um,
The audience?
the audience, yeah, because, and I think it's because as a dancer with evidence, I saw how, as a dancer, people were so moved by Ron's movement and Ron's work. And so to me, I was like, well, I don't know if I can make people feel that or anything for that matter. So it was something that I feared. And then when I started doing more commissions with other companies, I realized that that wasn't really the space for me either.
Mm.
And I said, I really want some time with dancers that I could figure out my movement and really hone my craft. I didn't want my influences to eclipse my voice. So in order for that to happen, I really had to figure it out. What is Camille's voice? And I just lost my thought, Charmaine.
We were talking about you, well,
Oh,
Bell, and what start a company.
yes, thank you. See,
You're welcome.
so then I said, well, I really need to have a company in order to do that. And so it was Francine Clarice Young. Uh,
Clarice, that's yes.
yes, one of the cleanest, clearest dancers on the planet. Uh, Kevin Guy. Um, yeah, in the very beginning, yeah, those were the people.
And so now,
Now,
Beatrice Capote,
Beatrice, Winston, Jay,
Winston,
Keelan, Courtney, Usha, um, who am I forgetting? Oh my gosh, Malik, Tim,
Malik.
Kat Foster. Um, I think I have every. Do I have it? Fauna. Fauna's in there. Maura Amina Parker, Maite Natalio, Chloe Davis, Aaliyah Cachet. Um, who am I forgetting? I hope I am not forgetting anyone.
If
Waldine,
you remember,
Marlene,
look.
Marlena. No, because they're probably gonna text me like, "Hello." I'm like, let me just get my part together. I think I got everybody. Jay, I think.
And remember, you're going to be back later on. So if
Oh,
they
right,
text you, you better come on back with
right.
it.
They cuss me out, and then I'll come back and say,
That's right.
"Excuse me, everybody."
We were going to talk about process, though. Process for the, and first, let me just say that we should say Ronald K. Brown, remember, right?
Or
And
the
then
middle initials.
middle initial. And then, Miss, I didn't want to start a company. You just named 500 people, but let's get past that.
Oh, before we do that, Charmaine, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I say why I actually use my middle initial?
Mhm.
Okay, because it's not just to be, fabulous or nothing. There are actually three Camille Browns. There's a Camille M Brown and there's a Camille G Brown. So that's when I started using Camille A Brown, and it was actually my mom who suggested it because I really wasn't into using my middle initial, and she was like, "I think you need to use your middle initial." So I have to thank my mom for that. So I'm sorry. I just wanted, since we were focusing on the middle initials.
Mama,
Yes,
mama.
yes.
Process. You have a company and you also have work on Broadway. What's process like? Remember that night when you and I were in the train station until all wee hours?
Yes, yes.
You were talking about process to me then, but maybe share a little bit of what about what that means, because two different worlds, and I don't know anything about the Broadway world, but
Yeah, it's completely different worlds, and that's why I love being a part of both of them because I definitely feel like I'm always being challenged. It makes me a better choreographer, a better director, a better thinker, a better collaborator. Because I'm constantly each show that I do has a completely different team. So I'm constantly around different energies, different directors. The difference between doing work for my company and doing work for Broadway is, well, one thing I can say is that when you come into a theater show, you have the book, you have the script, you have the costume, everything is kind of put together musically and book wise. And sometimes if you are from the very beginning, it is still building, but there is like a script or a draft. To me, when I'm working on my own company, I'm in a sense writing the script, writing the stories, and
Mm.
creating the music. So it takes me longer to. Well, I give myself a longer time to put my company works together, and then sometimes I've had to in the commercial world, I've had to put something up in 2 days. I've been on a show for 4 years, so it depends on what the show is and what the timeline of it is. It's mind blowing, really. And the first show that I did was Fortress of Solitude, and I thought, okay, you set something, and then that's it. And I didn't realize that you have to have at least 10 other different versions of that same number because the director can turn around at any point and go, you know what? Let's try something else. And so you can be working, and this happens all the time where you're in a rehearsal room for 6 weeks and you're working on the opening number. The opening number has not changed in 6 weeks. You get up on that stage in tech, everything changes. The director's like, you know what? I'm seeing this a little differently, and I'm sitting in the seat. So from the time I get up from my seat in the house to the time I walk on stage, I have to have another idea.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just choices. You have to choices. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And the first time that I was in that situation, I was like, I just had one idea. That was it. I thought it was okay. Uh, but it really helped me. And also, everything doesn't, what am I trying to say? You have to be willing to let your steps go in a process for theater. It's not about how good the steps are or how fierce they are, it's about what steps are telling the story. And that has really helped me in creating my work because then I carry that over and go, Camille, are you doing that step just because are you doing it 100 times just because you like doing it? Or are you doing it because it's pushing the story forward? So it's really helped me really look at uh, definitely collaboration, but also perspective and choice making and how important it is because I've always loved theater and I've always injected theater into my work. So to have the opportunity to really live inside of that is thrilling, and it's also terrifying because I've had a lot of firsts, like a lot of big moments have been my first. So the first time that I actually did a TV show was Jesus Christ Superstar Live. The first time that I did a Broadway show was I had never done one in the round, and that was the first time that I had to do that. So I was actually creating ink while I was doing Once on This Island. So if people who has if anyone who has seen ink, there's actually a section where the guys keep turning, and that's because I was rehearsing how to work in the round. So sometimes your pieces start taught the you can they can use each other and help to grow. And then the first time I did an opera was at the Met. So I've had these but the interesting thing is a lot of people go, oh, that's fierce, you have to marry, that's fierce, and all that stuff. It's like you must you must be living or whatever, you know. And I say, when I first get an opportunity, it is definitely exciting, and then it turns into what is the work, and focusing on that. And then a week before, I go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Where are we? You know, but it's like we have to get, regardless of where it is, wherever the show is, it is about the work. And that
Oh,
has nothing
Camille.
to do with the institution. You know, it could be at a park. It needs to be about the work.
Well, you answered the question that I was thinking about in my head, how to
What?
transfer things. But this is also a great transition. The work. Guess who should come in now?
Jason.
Jason. Jason Samuel. Come on in, brother Jason. We see you trying to come in. There you are.
Hey,
Cheers,
what's going
Jason.
on?
I hope you didn't fit. There you go. Cheers. Wait, so
Cheers.
shout outs. Yo, there are a lot of friends here. I'm gonna leave you in a minute, but Renee Redding Jones is here.
Renee.
Dave Alois Farron, Marlise Yearby is here. Jay Bowie, Brenda Dixon Gottschall,
Oh man.
Robinson, Kate Mattingly, Cynthia Oliver,
Oh, Sid.
Maxine Mantelis, Jennifer Harge, who said yes, Red Lobster, Elizabeth Zimmer, Travian Pollard, Yotande, and Jamal Barnes. And they keep coming. Hank Smith is here. Jason, Hank is here.
What up, Hank? Uncle Hank? Cousin Hank?
Cousin Hank. All right. Y'all have a little fun. Oh, wait. What did I hear about high school? Bullying? What? Huh? Bye.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say nothing about LAG,
No.
but nah, yo, big up Camille. It's so fascinating to hear your journey, and just to hear all the people that, have been a part of your journey. So respect.
Well, you know, I think that you and the tap community are so connected, and I really got to see that with working with you and Dermisha and Derek for Instill You Must Swing. And you really, the legacy is so important. That's what I see, how important it is to pass on the history and the culture, and how important it is for that to never go away, to honor those that came before you. uh,
Yes.
you know, you all provide so many lessons for the community. So it, you know, we are
Thank
just
you.
reflections of each other, man.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great thing that we've had the opportunity to perform and share the stage together. But I always go back to, the first time meeting you officially, up there,
Oh, the yard.
the yard. I always forget it. It's the simplest name, the yard. And your company and your performance was extremely moving. I believe it moved me to tears. And I felt extremely connected to your work from that point. Then finding out you attended LaGuardia, I think I started to feel a little, questionable about. No. Much respect to LaGuardia,
All right.
nothing against,
Much
you know
respect.
that.
We gotta explain the humanities LAG.
So, okay, all right. LaGuardia, everybody knows LaGuardia High School. It's like the famous high school in New York. It's the Fame High School, right?
Yeah.
That's the high school that Fame was pretty much based off of. It set the standard for performing arts in New York City, particularly if you wanted to be an actor or a performing artist, right? So, I think I dreamt about going there at one point because I was like, wow, it'd be really cool to go to the Fame School and, be around nothing but artists all day. And, I had my skepticisms about going there, but I still thought it was an amazing school. But growing up then after, in a couple years in high school, come to find out, LaGuardia was getting bullied a lot, man. And we would hear, you know, horror stories about how they had to change the release times of LaGuardia and, you know, kind of mismatch them with King that was right across the street. You know, and I mean, I wasn't wishing that on nobody. I felt horrible about it. But that was a little bit of the reputation. So, you know, coming from humanities, you know, we ain't really had that same reputation. But honestly, you know, LaGuardia put out a lot. Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Bernice Johnson.
Yes.
Because speaking to Carrie Edge recently, she told me that years ago, my father, JoJo Smith, went out to Bernice Johnson's and did some type of kids dance program. And I guess he, you know, I mean, he taught whatever he taught, but it kind of became some foundational teaching tool. So I'm curious if you know anything about that, or if you are familiar with any of my father's dance particularly through Bernice Johnson's studio.
I'm definitely going to look into that. I was very young when I went to Bernice Johnson. I was there I think I started when I was 4, and then I left when I was 11.
Okay.
But, and there were 3 floors, and the 3rd floor was for the top dancers. Like, I never was up there, but
you don't know what 3rd floor looked like.
I don't know what that was. Just 1 and 2. That was it. So, but that was for like the older dancers. Like Carrie was up there. My teachers were up there, Carolyn DeVore and Brian Hawthorne. And I do remember working with Bernice Johnson and being very scared, because it's almost like the person's what is it? The person's essence comes in before they do. So it's like, you know, whatever this time step is, I know I'm going to have to work this time step like I ain't never worked it before, because she is going to let us have it. And one thing that I will say that I loved about Bernice Johnson, that I do remember so vividly, is that there was a staircase that went all the way to the 3rd floor, but there was a wall of pictures from, I think, from the 30s. Started, and just collages of people. And it reminded me of a little bit of Tap, the movie. After, in the end, when they started putting those pictures up, it just reminded me of like memory. And I don't know, sadly the school is no longer open, but I don't know if anyone has those pictures, because I would love to see them.
Yeah, that would be
there.
I was just gonna ask you if you knew of if anyone at least photographed the walls to document it. But yeah, it would be amazing to see if anybody was able to save the actual photos, right?
Yeah, because it's so important for us to know. And I just love photos from the past. You know, I just love staring, like, what was that person's history like? It's especially as dancers, as Black dancers. I was reading about Edna Guy, and that she wanted to dance, I believe, with Ruth St. Dennis. I hope I am not saying this story wrong, but she was never asked to be in the company. She was like her assistant, and she was always told that, oh, you're not good enough, you need more technique or something. And I was just thinking about, wow, the what dancers back then, what Black dancers back then had to go through, had to deal with, you know, being limited, and really demeaned.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, because I think about that a lot, because, you know, I feel like, at least I'll speak for myself, I feel like my experience is, you know, is opposite. You know, like I feel like I've had a lot of moments of celebration where people have, you know, tried to uplift me and push me along on my journey. But I also realize it is a result of generations of folks putting in that work and their own time and their energy. But I wanted to go back to one thing you were saying about the essence, like just the vibe that you got when you were going to Bernice Johnson. I felt that when I was attending the children's program at Broadway Dance Center as a kid underneath Frank Hatchett.
Yes.
And Frank Hatchett had that same, bigger than life vibe where, I mean, if you heard his voice from around the corner, you started like, pulling up because you knew he was going to be like, show me that step or whatever, and it was all business, it's all work. And I appreciate that you were talking about your process too, about, how focused you are until you get to that kind of, point where you're, the work is there and now you can see it and now you can enjoy it once the work is done.
Right.
But you can't really enjoy it leading up to them because it's not realized, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the work is what matters at the heart of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
and I remember this one time I was about to start a project and I called Diane McIntyre and I said, "What am I gonna do? I don't know. I'm so nervous." And she said, "Oh, don't worry about that. You'll be too busy working." And she was so right. Once I got in the studio, it was just about the work. Now, when I left the studio, I started going, "Oh my God, I can't do this." I started doing that again, but
Right.
just being in the zone. And the thing that I will say that I love about working with you and Dermisha and Derek is that your process is so rigorous, but it's just as joyous too. And it's backstage, it's on stage,
Yeah.
it's just warm and it feels good. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous dancing with y'all.
Yo, I can't believe that because I felt, I mean, listen, I felt like I was dancing with all my heroes in that show. And I was looking at you like, please, I felt like you had to step down to come in and join us in our little circle because, look, you're a boss in your, in your own right. And so it's like, and so to ask some folks in your position to share your space as opposed to come in and we want you to run this because you're running a lot of things right now. So, but I appreciate you as an artist still coming into those spaces. Look, I felt the same way though. I felt like
y'all didn't I warn you about this?
Oh, sorry.
I told you, right?
Yeah, okay. We got it.
Are we done?
We're doing the toast.
It's time for just you, Jason. Didn't I say? Cheers.
My bad. All right. Well,
cheers.
Look, cheers.
I'm coming
Camille.
into your space right now.
Part two conversation later on.
Thank you, Camille, for helping me out.
Yes, thank you. Bye, Jason.
Bye. See you in a minute, Camille. But wait, I got more shout outs. Jason for you. Well, Jody Mellick is here. Summer McCoy is here. Stacy Dinner is here. Valerie Rashawn. But Jason, Anna Gori says, hey.
Hey.
And Hank says, yo, cuz.
That's my family right there.
Smith, man. So, Jason, introduce yourself. Talk about Daddy.
Yes.
Talk about all those things. Tell us where you are. And if you don't mind, tell us about your surroundings also.
Yes. My name is Jason Samuel Smith. I'll just say I'm on the stolen land of the Lenape people and other indigenous Afro peoples, currently known as Jersey City, New Jersey. I'm from Hell's Kitchen, New York, which is also stolen Lenape land. And my lineage runs very deep in dance and in my family. I can talk about a few people. I'll talk about going back, the oldest member of my family that I know was into music, particularly, is my great grandmother, Tempe Smith. And Tempe came up from Ocean City, Mississippi. and she opened up a chain of music schools in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance. And so she was influential on the music scene and also as an entrepreneur. She taught my grandfather and my great aunt music, and also they became dancers. And so my grandfather, Joe Smith, and my great aunt, Helena, were actually a tap act who appeared on the Apollo with Ella Fitzgerald, actually, and Chick Webb. And then going on to the next generation, actually the same generation, my grandmother, Anna Grayson Smith, was also a dancer with Catherine Dunham's company. Now, on my mother's side, I know my grandmother, Eleanor, was a dancer as a youth, but my mother, Sue Samuels, started her dance career as a ballerina, and then transitioned into jazz dance, where she then carried on her career into performing and choreography. And she now has a company called Jazz Roots Dance Company. Then we have my cousin Debbie Allen, who actually at one point was a student of my father, JoJo's, at JoJo's Dance Factory. And cousin Debbie, we know a little bit about her dance career. But she and I have definitely connected as well. She's given me tons of opportunities in terms of creating a space for me at her studio, Debbie Allen's Dance Academy. And I helped to establish her tap program there. And then I direct the Los Angeles Tap Festival at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy currently. So we've also collaborated on performances. She created a show called Soul Possessed back in the year 2000. And actually shout out to Patti LaBelle, who was in that show, in that production, and Arturo Sandoval, Desmond Richardson, Rasta Thomas, Arturo, I think I already said Arturo Sandoval. So major hitters in that show. But Debbie, a cousin, my sister Elka, my sister Monica, both professional dancers at one point, and now have my sister Elka has a management company where she focuses on the needs of dancers. My brother Rocky is a professional dancer and teacher. My uncle Kenny, shout out my uncle Kenny, who just moved to Guatemala. He's a professional dancer. So dance has kind of surrounded me throughout my life and my family, my lineage. That's just a little taste of the people I can think of, and I know off of the bat who are connected with the dance. So it's been a really fascinating life to be around so many creative people, artists, people who have inspired me, encouraged me, disappointed me, all of the above. It's been amazing.
So there's this trio, inseparable trio. You, Dormisha, and
Derek K. Grant.
Come on. How did that even happen?
Well, they've known each other since they were kids. They both attended the Universal Dance Design Studio in Los Angeles. Derek, his family's connected with the studio. So he would go out there during the summers in Boston, from Boston to LA, and Dormisha's from Los Angeles. So they met there. We
should say Dormisha Sumbry Edwards?
We should just say Dormisha.
Okay, we should just say Dormisha.
Yeah, so Dormisha, she started in LA, and she's been based on the East Coast for years now. But I met both of them here in New York. I remember seeing Dormisha for the first time in the show Black and Blue, which was, in my opinion, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. Probably planted, one of the real seeds for me to look at this art and dance as a serious thing to pursue. I saw her in that, and then we met years later, most likely at the Broadway Dance Center. And then Derek and I met, I believe, probably at the Broadway Dance Center as well, even though I don't remember, I was probably too young at that point to remember him. But the first time I really remember like interacting with him was a National Tap Dance Day performance in New York City at Town Hall. And Dr. Jimmy Slide was one of the invited performers. And Jimmy Slide brought a young Derek Grant out. And I mean, Jimmy was usually just rolling by himself. So for him to bring anybody out, I was fascinated to be like, who is he bringing out? So Derek came out and he was like a young version of Jimmy at that point, doing all of Jimmy's nuances and with his own touch on it. So I was like, okay, this cat is official. And then years down the line, him and I worked together in Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk. He was the dance captain of the show, and he taught me the show. And he, in essence, I got to give him credit for also helping me to really establish like my own practice regimen, so that I could really develop and hone my own voice, which I'm still just in the process of doing. But like Derek definitely helped to plant that seed. So both of them have been tremendously influential on me throughout my life, and getting to work with them and first in Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk, but now in these current productions that we've been doing together, we like to call ourselves the super villains. I don't know if you've heard that term. I like to, put that term out there because, more or less, and I think personally, this is my opinion of the title, we live in a time where there's a lot of people that are celebrated as heroes and glorified, a certain lifestyle is glorified, but these are not necessarily the real heroes. And, sometimes it takes some supervillains to balance everything out. So, but plus I look at us as an act, as like a modern tap act who can come together, perform, whether it's a full length show or maybe even as an opener. And, we have a repertoire now because we've done a few shows together that I've choreographed or Misha's choreographed. So we have material, and they're friends of mine. So I it's a nice thing to be able to dance with people who you're also friends with.
Some of the people in the chat are saying that you're dance royalty and what a legacy. But you just dropped one name, Baba Jimmy, Ibae, Baba Jimmy Slide. Talk about some more of the others that you've been able to touch.
Ooh,
right?
Wow. Well,
of course, Hank Smith, who's here.
Of course, Hank, and Hank and I go back to Sesame Street, actually, which is interesting because Sesame Street being my first professional job, Savion giving me the opportunity. So I got to big up Savion as well, yes. Savion Glover, and Gregory Hines, really Gregory Hines being like another one of my main inspirations and people who really planted the seed as like showing a way with this dance. But people who I was able to be around, and let me shout out some of my teachers as well. I'm gonna shout out my first teacher, Judy Bassing, who is actually still teaching in Florida. I want to shout out Horace Turnbull, who I feel like he don't get a lot of props, but Horace was one of my early teachers who I feel like introduced me just to like the concept of syncopation and, phrasing that wasn't as square and straightforward. Shout out to Savion, who was definitely influential as a teacher. And again, Derek, who really, helped to guide me along my improv way. But when you're talking about the elders, who I feel like, people I've gotten to spend a lot of time around who inspired me. I start with people like Dr. Buster Brown, who, James Buster Brown, I should say his entire name, who was, originally, I believe, from the Baltimore, Maryland area, but was a New Yorker through and through. On the Harlem scene, on the Midtown scene. He hosted a tap jam in the 90s at Swing 46. But at one point, I found myself almost following him around New York to different spots like Swing 46, but also St. Nick's Pub in in Harlem, which is no longer standing right now, Showman's Cafe, even Lennox Lounge. So I saw him at so many local New York jazz clubs that I felt like at a certain point, I forgot how old he was, because he was pulling up, hanging out all night as if he was a young cat. And to see that was really, it was different, because everybody else, well, most of the people were younger. I guess the musicians, there were some elder musicians on the scene, obviously, but the dancers, to see the elder dancers still kicking it, still on the dance floor, cutting it up till 3, 4 in the morning, out dancing us. I'm over here winded, tired, like, whew, I've been dancing all night. I'm looking on the dance floor, and Buster Brown is on the dance floor with 2 women partnering, swing dancing. I'm like, wow, this is, that's
and
another
this is
level.
sometimes after they get off the stage, right?
This is pretty much every time after they get off the stage, because for them there was really, they didn't classify themselves as like, I'm a tap dancer, I'm a swing dancer. They were dancers. So they would specialize in tap dance and that tradition of tap. But I mean, in the essence, they were dancers. They loved to get on the dance floor and cut it up in as many styles as they could, even modern styles. People like Leroy Myers, who was also another member of the Copacetics, and managed the Copacetics at one point. Face Roberts, another man who was a member of the Copacetics and the choreographer of the one-man dance. They were people who I got to be around in New York heavy. And then people like Diane Walker, the Honorable Diane Walker, who, coming from Boston, would be on the New York scene and represent heavily for our community in the dance and that philosophy, that way of the dance. Because I feel like, there's a lot of people that tap dance, but there's a small circle of people that kind of live by a certain code and respect this art form in a certain way. So, I'm grateful to have been around a lot of those people.
And one of the things that you told me now, with all those people in your background and where you are now, is you're building your own empire.
That's the focus now is to work on ownership, really build a base where I can operate all of the things that I'm working on, whether it's teaching classes or holding any type of events, and also to sell products and service my community. But I'm really trying to do it all, as much Black owned as possible. So that, and create things that have integrity and quality. Like I don't want to put anything out that doesn't, that is not thought out and done with some type of care. Cause, I think it's missing a lot nowadays.
What are you doing now? Speaking of nowadays.
Well, there's a variety of things. Let's see. Building the website, number one. My wife and I are working on that heavily. And
wait,
and we
pause. Wife and
my wife and I.
And
my
you
wife
got
Daphne. Yeah, we're not legally wed, but she's my wife. She's my partner, my life partner, and the mother of my sons.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for you to say.
Oh, for sure.
Daddy.
I'm a daddy. I'm a new daddy now. My son Tatum is the main focus. So yes, I mean, everything is really revolving and evolving around him and the family, really just the well-being of the family. But with that being said, we're working on trying to create multiple streams of income and to establish certain things. I mean, I don't know if you can see the stack of books in the back, but we're building a pretty incredible library of information that we will be applying, because my wife is she's a healer and a naturalist, so, and a yogi, a Kemetic yogi. So she will be working on expanding her knowledge on that and building on that, and I'm working on eventually writing a book about tap dance culture and Black culture and how it pertains to our community, really through the scope of one of us who have lived in it, heard the stories. Going back, actually, that reminds me, I want to mention a few more people, if you don't mind. Dr. Harold Cromer, who I got to really spend a lot of time around in Midtown, and being a fellow Hell's Kitchenite, and being somebody who has success in the tap world, and being somebody who spoke very, very honestly and directly about wrongdoings that either occurred in general or to him specifically. And I honored that, because even when people would kind of, shrug him off, like, there's Harold again, like he's just going through his spiel, like, nah, Harold is speaking truth to power at all times. And I appreciated that about Dr. Harold Cromer. So Dr. Harold Cromer, Dr. Leonard Reed, Robert Reed, Professor Robert Reed, Chance Taylor. Just want to shout him out as one of my spiritual guides, better known as Amin Musa. There's a lot of folks. My sister Elka, I know I mentioned her before, but my sister Elka is a huge influence on me and just throughout my life. So shout out to my sister Elka one more time.
Elka's holding it down. Elka is holding it down.
Oh, so I know I got sidetracked. Yes, Elka. Look, I don't think she gets enough credit overall. So I think, as a producer, as a manager, as a visionary, as a grant writer, she wears so many hats. And coming from a dancer, somebody who is a dancer at heart, she's and a musician. She needs more props, so she's gonna get that. Don't worry, Elka's. We're gonna work on something for her. But more projects. Let me just mention a couple more things. We're working on a project right now called Reconnected, which is focusing on, elements that maybe have come out of the Black community, similar to tap dancing, that might have a certain stigma attached to it. And we're having discussions, and it's not just about tap, more general discussion, more general subjects, but we're talking to people in a range of backgrounds to get perspective. And it's going to be an interesting piece. It's all done documentary style, interview style. So we'll be editing it together and putting it out as soon as we're done with that. We're working on a show, which will be really interesting. I'm not going to talk about that yet, but working on a show. And a couple big projects that I would like to mention here that I would like folks to consider supporting in the near future is, number one, we're working on an elders fund for the tap community. So something that can build like a trust fund that can help support members of our community, particularly of a certain age. We don't really have unions for tap dancers. We don't really have insurance plans for the most part. So, I feel like I'm going to try to take it upon myself with other folks who have, are also in support of this idea to help establish this. So this Elders Fund will be attached to everything I'm doing moving forward. So a percentage of everything I'm doing will go toward this fund. And people in our community will have access to this, folks that need it, and we all need a little support right now. But I feel like throughout my years, I've seen so many dancers struggle financially up until the end, you know, and people who you would never imagine, you know, you only consider dance royalty, as some people just said, dying broke or in debt. I've seen it happen way too many times in tap. So I want to help to reestablish something for us. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which is a large undertaking, but I'm gonna put it out there as well. Also, before somebody try to take my idea, stop playing. We're gonna create an online tap museum, and this is gonna focus on our community, our voices, our stories, our paraphernalia. And I would like the individuals themselves to curate their personal collections as a part of this space, which will live online. So, you know, I'm working on a ton of things on top of being a new daddy, trying to fix up my house. I'm trying to, you know, teach myself how to build shelving and do home improvements. And yeah, just trying to be a better person. You know, I realized one of the things I realized in this whole pandemic, in this whole situation, the quarantine and everything this year, is like, we just got to work on ourselves. You know, we have to improve the way we do things, the way we treat each other, the way we operate within our community. And that's where the leadership is. You know, getting on a podium and saying that doesn't have the same effect as it does when you just do it and people see that you're living the way that you said that you would. So I'm in the process of trying to get myself in order the way that I envision and set it up for my family's future. But in turn, hopefully, you know, inspire some folks along the way to think a little bit differently than we have been. Cause you know, I'm a big advocate of like grassroots improvement. Like, let's start by doing neighborhood cleanups, you know, and you know, Black business expos and, you know, things of that nature that promote, you know, our community in our communities. That's, to me, the answer. Anything else, trying to ask anybody else for any help, trying to get it from some type of government entity, I don't see it happening. I have never seen it happen. And I don't believe that's where the help is. I know that we are capable as people. We built this entire thing that we are inside right now. We have the capacity to build anything that we want to from scratch. So I'm dedicated now to work on that myself. That's all I want to say. I'll leave it there.
Wow. Wow, wow, and wow. And the thing that I want to remind you, and let's bring Camille back, because the thing that I want to remind you is that what Camille mentioned Diane McIntyre, and remember what I said? Diane McIntyre said, it's Black time.
It's Black
right?
time, yo.
It's Black time.
It's Black time. It's you know, it's just time for us to do. You know, we can't talk, we can't ask nobody for nothing. We're not getting it from nowhere but ourselves. So we got to just do for self. And it's not even about putting nobody else down. It's just doing our own work. And we're already doing it. We do it individually. But as we come together and we do things like this and we build and we put our minds together, that's the power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to give some more shout outs. And then I'm going to try to read some of these statements / questions. But Joanne Robinson Hill is here. Always a supporter. Jonna Feynman, VT Dance, Carol Dilly, Ryan Stanberry. And guess what? Jason, your mama is here.
What up, Mom?
Sue Samuels.
Hey,
and I think she kind of pointed a finger at you because she wrote Tatum. You didn't say the baby's name.
I'm sorry, my son Tatum. You know, I'm a little secretive about him. We don't even be posting pictures, but yes, my son, our son Tatum. So proud of him. He's a beautiful boy, and eventually the world. I mean, you know, if you know me, you'll see him, but eventually social media will see him too. But
Yeah, but
when he decides, you know.
that's right. That's right. Y'all dropped so many names, so many names. And I hear you, Camille, about looking at the pictures and just want to say, I wonder what you're thinking. And
Yeah.
somebody, well, I think it was Joanne Robinson. Yeah, it was. Someone should tell Bernice Johnson's story, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That
And
one right there.
yeah,
That one right there. That would be a big one. You
I mean,
also got, go ahead,
I
Camille.
was gonna say Michael Peters was from Ben Vereen. I mean, so many people came from Bernice Johnson, and it's just it's legacy. You know, that's what I was thinking when I was listening to you, Jason. Legacy. It's just so important for us to never forget and always remember. So,
And somebody bigged you
Yeah.
up. I have to find it for mentioning Edna Guy.
yes.
And yes, you are right, Camille. Ruth St. Dennis called her girly.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
called her girly. But yeah, she stuck with it and did her thing.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. I'm going, y'all talk. Remember, you had something to finish talking about?
Oh yeah, what were
I'm
we
going to
talking
look for these
about?
things. Huh? Interrupted you. Oh no,
Oh
I
no.
forgot.
Oh well, no. Come on in, Camille. I was kind of done with my thoughts, so
Well, I think the idea about the museum, that's why I say it. So but you know, I think that is just fantastic. So nice. And the fund for the elders, amazing, because you're so right. You're so right. I mean, from over time, I think black entertainers in general, especially in the past, you know,
right.
like
Not just in dance, not just
yeah.
in dance. Even I mean every field, but you know I feel like the only reason for me it has to start with tap is because when tap dancers start something and then it becomes general, tap gets like swept
Mhm.
to the we get the last end of the stick, even if we created the fun. So I feel like it has to start with within the tap community, and then it will branch out. It has to because it has to be for our community at large that is in that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful and wonderful, and yeah, just thinking of a lot of people that I know that that died in that in very similar situations where it's like, man, that person put so much heart into the earth and the ground and
Man,
just gave gave so much. You know, they should be sitting on a throne. You know,
exactly. So you know, even with my father, you know, my father who had so much influence over so many people, and to be honest, Broadway Dance Center is JoJo's Dance Factory.
mhm.
They don't they don't
Right.
they don't talk about it. They don't tell his story when they talk when they promote where that studio is. And even when you think about the idea of like studios housing multiple styles of dance, even though I was just talking to my mom about it, like they didn't do it on purpose. They were housing all these styles because everybody's studios was closing. And so they had nowhere else to teach. And so my father and my mom, they were like, come on in, you can teach here. So then they had jazz, ballet, tap under the same roof. That became the format for dance studios. My parents don't get credit for that.
Mm.
And then this is Broadway dance that's still eating right now. They don't got
That's
no
right.
plaque for him. They don't got no story on the wall. They even got his picture up.
Mm.
So, you know, there's a lot of work to be done. Myself, my family, we're also that's another thing we're working on, which is creating something that will accumulate stories about my father and photos, videos. So if there's people on here too that you had an experience of JoJo Smith, either through him directly or by ways of one of his students, definitely chime in, send something, because we're trying to accumulate information just about people who have been touched by my father. So yeah.
And we're putting your connects in the chat. So please, folks, and for Camille, if y'all know anything about Bernice Johnson, because we should just blast it. Once our website is up, we're going to let everybody know, but that's serious, right, Camille?
I mean, the thing about Bernice Johnson is that there are about 5 or 6 schools that all of my teachers basically branched out. So there's a community, and they actually have a reunion every couple of years. So thank you, Jason, for bringing up Carrie, because we're like all family. You know, it's all connected. So it's definitely. And if I could, because not because she's on here, but because I always do it, I just wanted to lift up Marlise Yerby. Um,
Marlise.
she is someone that I I I wanted to connect with Black women who worked in theater, and I connected with her and Diane McIntyre, and she is one of the people that I cling to for encouragement, for power, for understanding. She is legacy, and you know, I haven't, during this pandemic, I really haven't been motivated to dance, and Dramisha and I are doing a duet, and she she wanted me to do something based on women that I admire. So Jason, Debbie Allen is definitely one of those people, and Diane McIntyre and Marlise. And I started with Marlise, and I'm actually listened to one of her talks that she did, and I started dancing to her words. So she is definitely an inspiration. And you know, Jason, I was just so moved by the people that you lifted up. But you always do this, you know.
Well,
This is
I
this is
think
not so.
it's only right. Like when you come up underneath people like Savion and even being around people like Buster Brown and Harold, like they always would talk about folks, and they would talk about, you know, they would just mention names, and I just realized at some point it's really important to acknowledge folks that have touched you and you know, change your perspective or just helped you along the way. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many more, to be honest. Like I would really be here for 2 hours mentioning
Right.
everybody, because really the range of inspiration. I mean, there's so many tap dancers. Like one of the books I have behind me is the Royalty of Negro Vaudeville, which is about the Whitman sisters.
Yes.
You know, I mean, come on, like we talk like the legacies. Matter of fact, and you were talking about photos. I want to just. Do you mind if I show a photo of one of my family members?
Love that.
Of course
Yeah.
not. But I just want to say, Ayodele and Domisha, they big up a lot of the women
Yes.
because it's a lot of male tap dancers. But
Oh,
while
no doubt.
he's gone,
No.
Vincent Thomas, Camille said, Clay Taliaferro, right?
Yep.
The legends. Go ahead, show your picture, please.
Okay, so this is one of my great aunts. Her name is Jerry Smith, and she was a pianist and a band leader. And I believe in the 1940s, she led a band of a 30-piece orchestra in Carnegie Hall. And I read somewhere that she was deemed the queen of boogie woogie. So her name is Jerry Smith.
Nice.
Okay, Diva.
You know, and yeah.
She looks like Elka.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Hey.
You know, I was like, you know, there's definitely some Elka up in there for sure.
Oh,
And Jason, whenever you do that thing for Elka, please let me know, because she has helped. She has been so helpful to me too.
Yes.
She's trying to convince me that I could actually dance with y'all.
Man, listen, you know, come on. I think we all have a lot of mutual admiration and respect, but yeah, look, I think right now, right here on this talk, you need to put all your doubt away to bed, Camille. You are official. You are a contributor, and your voice is very valid. Not just valid, but it's needed. And so, don't let anybody forget anybody. Don't you doubt yourself anymore, because I feel like you are your biggest critic, and I appreciate that as an artist, because you should be tough on yourself to create a high standard. But sit back, relax, kick back and enjoy what you have done and all the people that you've inspired along the way.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you.
Oh, it's like Jewel is in the room, right?
Yeah, Jules in the room.
Like Jewel is in
Let's
the
go.
room. Carol Marie Webster said, "Thank you for bringing this issue, elder dancers in financial crisis."
Mhm.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. I mean, I don't know, Camille, have you ever worked with career transition for dancers?
No, I have. I know of them, but I haven't worked with them.
Yeah, so I became aware of that organization. I believe it's a New York-based organization that helps
It's
dancers
national
basically.
now. It's national now.
Right, national, and it helps dancers transition from a dance career into another career, or helps them financially, just as a support system. And it's primarily for elder dancers, but that was one of the things that gave me this idea, because I'm like, well, see, it exists for dancers, but how many tap dancers are in there? And is there anything that exists specifically for us? Because I feel like, once again, we kind of get left out when it's something for everyone. So, but yeah, I think it's something we have to keep addressing, until we fix it as a society, because the way that other societies value their elders, they they're not they never leave the house. Like they're a part of the multi-generational household, which helps to take care of the next generation. And it's not just that, but you get to help take care of them when they get to that stage. So it's this process of, like, we live in a society where everybody's in a rush to get out of their house and be independent, but then we need each other. We need to be around each other. We need the elders to talk to the kids. We need their wisdom for us as well. So, I feel like there's things that we can do, to help initiate and help to rebuild those relationships, because our elders deserve it, but nobody's going to do it if we don't start, right?
Mhm.
But how about not everybody knows about career transition, so we just put that out there. So that's another thing that we have to put out to let everybody know, because they do help folks. They really do help folks.
They
But
do. They do a lot of good work. Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of people know about it. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right.
So, but it can't hurt to create more resources that can help
Hmm.
folks. And, I wasn't even thinking about it, but I'm like, man, I'm not even far from what people consider an elder. So I'm like, this is going to help benefit me one day, and
That's
all
right.
of us, you know what I mean? And I just feel like we don't have the financial structural, safety net that other, communities have. And so if we can start to help to do it, and then attach it to everything we're doing, so that it doesn't have to stand alone and only build by
Mhm.
itself, but every work we create can help to go toward that.
What's been your happy place these days?
Ooh, well, I love to make music too. I love to produce beats and rap.
All right now.
I'm like, in my mind, I'm a superstar MC. So, no, but I do. I really love to produce music. I love to read. I just cracked this open today. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm going in right now in terms of educating myself and
Hmm.
trying to prepare myself mentally. And yeah, happy place, spending time with Tatum and Daphne, and just being home. Like you said, to be honest, like the silver lining in this time period has been spending time at home and
Hmm.
just reflecting and having a lot of conversations, even if they're over Zoom. But
Here we are.
relationship, here
How
we
about
are.
you? How about you, Camille? Happy place.
My friends and family, definitely. And I totally am with you about taking this time to do inner work. Like, I want to be a better thinker, better dancer, better choreographer, better person when we get out of this. You know, it's like, what is the work that we are doing? There's the macro work of like the fighting for racial injustice, but it also starts with you too. And what can we do personally to 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 advocate, but also, you know what, this time has taught me to, because there's so much advocacy, it's helped me to think about, you know what, you need to care for yourself a little better and advocate for yourself more, because
Yeah.
it's deep, you know, especially now. It's like, fight for what you want, and it's okay. And I think it's like, we, like you said, Jason, we have to say those names that came before us, and we have to be almost unapologetic about it, because we can't let those doors shut on those names. And it's so easy for that to happen, you know, for those people to be forgotten or just ignored, you know, and we have to make sure that that never happens.
Yeah.
Wow. On that note, wow.
Wait, speaking of a name,
A name.
I don't want to forget, we have a part of the BDS family, Caitlin Chandler, who is our awesome video tech expert. So thank you for that reminder, Camille.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you for that reminder, Camille. Yes. Drop
right.
those
Shout out.
names. And did we miss anybody, Camille or Jason, to shout out before we just say goodbye to?
Joan Myers Brown.
Joan Myers Brown, shout out. Joan Myers Brown. Shout out to Catherine Dunham, who,
Yes.
you know, my family was tied in. Eartha Kitt.
Yay.
You know, Mabel Lee.
Oh, that was just this year, right?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah, but you know, shout out Yvette Glover.
Yes.
Oh, Mama Yvette. Camille, you said somebody.
Oh, I said Chuck Davis.
Oh,
Yes,
Baba.
Chuck, yes.
Baba Chuck.
Baba Chuck, man.
Jason, you are part of the Black dance royalty.
Woo! Come on. Come on. Y'all.
Look, I'm honored to be in my family. I feel lucky to have the upbringing that I did. Like, my sister and I, you know, we would complain about having to be at the dance studio every day. Like, oh, we got to go back to the studio. But I can't picture a better childhood, because even though we weren't even really supposed to be there, it was just for adults too. Like, the kids weren't allowed to take classes at the studio then. It was kids, what you doing around here? But just because, you know, our mom was teaching there, we were there. So yeah, I feel grateful and honored to be a part of my family. And, you know, I also feel at this point, like, I feel responsible. Like, I have to keep their legacy going and make sure that people like my father, you know, people don't forget him.
Come on.
JoJo Smith.
Wow.
You know,
say it loud.
JoJo
and that third
Smith.
floor, right, Camille? That third floor.
Third floor.
That
You
third floor.
made it to the third floor.
The third floor.
The third floor. The third floor.
Oh,
let's go, Jamaica.
Cheers.
Right?
Cheers.
Yo, cheers, y'all.
I love you all. Thank you for doing this. Cheers.
Love y'all too. Thank you so much for having us.
Bye, everybody. Next week. Oh my gosh. Kayla Hamilton and Jamal Barnes. Don't laugh at me, Jason. Kayla Hamilton and Jamal Barnes. Come on back. Spread the word. Support these artists. And once we get the website up, everything that we talk about is going to be there. Whatever is new for Camille, whatever has been for Camille, whatever is going to happen for Jason, whatever has been for Jason, and all of this support for the names.
Yes.
Legacy.
The ancestors have spoken.
Come on.
That's right.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.